Why does one woman look effortlessly modern and the other constantly look like she's trying too hard? Both married into the same institution and had access to stylists and designers and had a global platform. Yet Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has quietly evolved royal dressing into something relatable and contemporary, while Meghan Markle, when she was with the royal family, appeared to push against the very structure that gives royal fashion its power and ended up serving messy amateur vibes instead. And despite leaving her position in the royal family, has a far less relatable image than Princess Catherine does. Today we are debunking royal dress code myths and breaking down the hidden rules of royal dressing and why understanding these rules makes all the difference. Plus, we have some practical tips that you can take away for your own wardrobe. First, I'm going to debunk some of those royal dressing myths and compare a few examples of specific looks and what those choices communicated. Then we will analyze Catherine's style approach, what it's doing and how it's evolved recently, versus Meghan's attempt at a similar goal of modernizing royal style, and not only where she came up short, but why it didn't work. Finally, we will look at some of the royal fashion rules that most people don't even know exist, and how Catherine has modernized them and the evolution there, and why Meghan's vision of royal modern style did not succeed. Before we begin, I would like to invite you to subscribe, hype, share, like, and comment below. And if you love fashion content like this, be sure to subscribe to my second channel where we have lots more fashion content, including red carpet fashion editions. I will put the channel link up here and in the description box. So let's begin with color. It's one of the things that's most immediate when we see a person's outfit, when we see clothing, fashion. One of the first things that our brain registers is the color. It's really, really important. And there is a myth that royal ladies are not allowed to wear the same color as one another. This myth began with Meghan Markle herself. I'm sure you will remember in an episode of her and Harry's Netflix docuseries. It was really a fakecumentary. It was very fictitious, so I really don't think we should be using the word docuseries, but it was released in December 2022, and she claimed that she rarely wore color to avoid wearing the same color as Queen Elizabeth II or other senior royals like Catherine, Princess of Wales. She stated, quote, "To my understanding, you can't ever wear the same color as Her Majesty if there's a group event, but then you also shouldn't be wearing the same color as one of the other more senior members of the family." Tosh. Now, you can see that someone's lawyer got involved here and advised her to preface this lie with "to my understanding," because it absolves her of any sort of legal responsibility for spreading misinformation. That key phrase contextualizes this falsehood as Meg's misunderstanding rather than Meg presenting something as a fact that she knows not to be true. Slippery. And she included this in the Netflix series to sort of counter the popular opinion that Meghan stumbled when it came to royal fashion, which she did. She stumbled there really big time. And she thought that this was a good defense to that, I guess, that it was sort of like justifying her crappy fashion choices. I don't know, but it really wasn't. Instead, what it did was expose another one of her lies. So this really was just an attempt at an excuse for why she wore neutrals and didn't look polished. But it is indeed a myth when it comes to royal dressing. There is nothing in the unofficial royal dress code that says you can't wear the same color. It's not a thing. And apparently this is a myth for the Meg too, because if we did take her flimsy word for it, then she only wore neutrals when she was with the royals because she believed it was her only option when she was on group outings. But then she proceeded to be obsessed with and wear almost exclusively neutrals for the last 6 years. So, I mean, rarely do we see her in color. So I guess it's a myth both ways. No one was ever instructed to not wear the same color as someone else, especially without knowing what color they were wearing. Make it make sense, Meg. Her assertion that she just had to vaguely guess that she was going to wear a color that no one else would choose. I guess they won't choose beige. They won't choose camel. Maybe they won't choose brown or gray or charcoal. She claimed that she just had to guess for a color that they weren't wearing. The reality is that that doesn't even make sense. If there were a rule which there isn't, but in theory, hypothetically, if there were one that you couldn't wear the same color as someone else, obviously they would communicate what color they were wearing. Duh. Instead, what was common was that Queen Elizabeth's dresser would communicate what color she would be wearing to an event so that the other royal ladies would at least not clash. Like, you wouldn't get rust orange next to robin's egg blue. Bleh, that would look bad together in a picture, right? So that was what was communicated. Like, oh, Her Majesty will be wearing this sort of a color or shade. So then it's just up to those people to not clash with it, basically. But there were some general royal dress code rules regarding color, as well as some cultural traditions, which we'll get to next. But it was never about not wearing the same color as another senior royal. Meghan pushing this myth was simply a tool for her to make an excuse for her poor styling choices, and it is not based in any fact at all. So let's examine the important role of color in royal fashion and the truth about royal engagements and outfit color choices and coordination between royal ladies. And the practical takeaways here for our own wardrobe and styling is to not shy away from color, but instead use it to our advantage. Find the colors that suit you best and make your coloring pop, and select them based on how they make you feel or what they represent or communicate or convey, which again, that's another thing we're going to touch on in just a moment when we get to Catherine. The claim that royal family members are prohibited from wearing the same color as the sovereign or other senior royals has been disproven, and we have many examples to provide evidence of this, like, for example, when Queen Elizabeth II and Catherine, Princess of Wales, wore matching shades of blue at the 2019 Royal Ascot, or the 2014 Trooping the Colour. Queen Elizabeth has actually worn the same color as many different junior royals on numerous occasions. There's also been accounts of deliberate coordination. Far from being a prohibited act, the royal family often intentionally coordinates their colors for group events to present a unified and harmonious front for photographs, plus it just makes a nicer picture. For example, Prince Louis's christening, pastel blues were the theme, and instead of coordinating, Meghan chose an olive green, which clashed. This was viewed as a deliberate refusal. Now famous Unity appearance in 2022. Shortly after Meghan's comments aired in December 2022, several senior royal women, including Catherine, Princess of Wales, Zara Tindall, and Princess Charlotte, attended a Christmas carol service, all wearing nearly identical shades of burgundy. Neutral colors are not avoided. Meghan claimed that she chose them because senior royals never wear them. However, historical photos show both Queen Elizabeth II and Camilla, Queen Consort, and even Catherine, Princess of Wales, wearing these same muted tones at various events. Senior royals do make attempts to not clash with one another, however, as I explained, and do intentionally coordinate. So in fact, the opposite appears to be true. Now let's take a little bit of a closer look at Catherine, Princess of Wales. She has become the top fashion icon of our time, especially within the last 10 years. And a big reason why is because she has evolved British royal dressing into a modern and more relatable and effectively strategic image. And that includes her use of color. For example, she's known to utilize flag dressing, wearing colors of a country's flag when visiting or hosting. Almost every state visit welcome and state banquet include this diplomatic approach. For example, her 2022 visit to Denmark, she wore a red blazer and white shirt to mirror the Danish flag. Similarly, she wore Berlin blue upon arriving in Germany to signal respect for the host city. When welcoming President Emmanuel Macron in 2025, she wore a crimson gown, which is one of France's national colors. In 2022, she wore cerulean blue sweater to the Ukrainian Culture Center as a nod to the Ukrainian flag. It's a powerful tool not only to show respect and celebrate the occasion with a sense of visual unity, but these pictures are recorded as part of history. So looking back, they will show a lot about her as a person and her role as future queen, as part of her legacy. Some additional conventions have been observed or occasionally even confirmed by royal sources when it comes to use of color and wardrobe overall. For example, visibility is another element to this, as well as diplomacy. Bright, solid colors, especially for public walkabouts, are extremely commonly chosen. Senior royals often wear bold, solid shades and in monochrome, meaning the outfit is almost all head to toe that specific color. This makes them instantly visible in large crowds, and Queen Elizabeth II was famous for initiating this strategy, ensured people could say, "I saw the Queen," according to sources close to her. Catherine also notably selects colors with specific meaning to enhance the symbolism of events. For example, white for new beginnings or hope, green for growth, blue for stability, and red to project confidence. She seems to put more thought behind her color selection than just bright and monochrome like Queen Elizabeth II. This is another way that she has modernized or customized this smart approach to her own knowledge and background in art and take it further to incorporate that visual symbolism in subtle ways. And this is one of those tips that we can use in our own wardrobe. Different colors convey different messages and read as something different. And therefore, we read people a little bit differently based on the colors that they're wearing. It's very subtle. It's something that our brain kind of immediately has an association with. We don't even really notice it, but it does change. So, they say red is a power color. You can find a shade of red that looks good on you, but if you really don't like wearing red, then sometimes blue can be your power color. But everybody has a few power colors that really boost their confidence, but also just make them look stronger visually. And this is a great tool to learn, and it just takes a little trial and error of trying on different colors and really seeing what kind of pops more or conveys a more powerful image for you specifically. Royal women are also known to have certain traditions around color selection. For example, they avoid predominantly black outfits with the exception of mourning or remembrance. This gives black so much more power and allows it to be a really strong signal, one that can be used to show respect. By wearing black and all black frequently, like Meghan Markle did when she was with the royal family and still does sometimes now, it really eliminates the power behind the color. It's less striking to see Meghan in black because she wears it often. It's very striking to see Catherine or Camilla or other royals, or when Queen Elizabeth II was here, to see them in all black was striking. It was profound. It instantly conveyed remembrance, respect, mourning. The power behind color is not to be underestimated, especially if you're in the public eye. But there's other examples of tradition around color. Like, for example, Commonwealth Day, it's typical to wear patriotic colors, the Union Jack dressing, red, white, and blue. Here's a few more examples of royal group engagements that included Meghan Markle, and you can see her deliberate choices to not follow protocol or to not cooperate with her in-laws, who at the time in question were also her co-workers essentially. So what does that say about this person's character? I will ask. But the royal dress code rule, which is more like a guideline of brighter, often solid colors, was almost entirely ignored by the Meg, who wore very dark outfits and black very frequently. But she also seemed to purposefully clash with the royals and other traditional color schemes for specific days. Apart from Prince Louis's christening, we have the first Christmas at Sandringham with a tan and brown. Not even any burgundy in sight. The green for Commonwealth Day. It made it look like Christmas in the pictures. Everyone else was coordinated in Union Jack color scheme. Trooping the color of 2019 and the Platinum Jubilee of 2022, Meg wore navy on both occasions, while the other royals opted for brighter, more festive colors. So it seems Meghan's version of modernizing this tradition of using color was to completely disregard it, no matter how advantageous it is. For Catherine, her careful selective use of specific color schemes conveys thoughtful appreciation for each event. Meghan's disregard for utilizing color to coordinate messages or demonstrate diplomacy made her look selfish, uncooperative, and gave the impression that she didn't understand her role or how clothing choices can impact perception in the role of a working royal specifically. But it also made her stand out in photographs, and not in a good way. You got the sense that she just wore whatever she wanted, especially if it was expensive and designer. And not only did the color schemes not seem to matter to her, but the fit and finish didn't seem to matter either. But color isn't the only way that these two women differed in their approach to royal dressing, and it's not the only way that Catherine modernized royal dressing either. We dive deeper into that very element, the fit and finish to garment, in another episode in this series. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it, or I will link it for you here. I'm not sure which one's coming up first. But we paid close attention in that episode to how fit and finish, to the polish of an outfit, can make or break the presentation. From undergarments to fabric choice, the architecture of building the foundation for the right outfit, and more royal dress code myths. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming episodes of this Royal Fashion Edition series. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a happy day ahead, and I will see you next time. Bye!